In the grand theater of history, few artifacts have stirred as much passion, debate, and scientific scrutiny as the Vinland Map. It emerged from obscurity in the mid-20th century, a supposed relic of medieval cartography that promised to rewrite the story of America's discovery. The document's central claim was breathtaking. It depicted a landmass named Vinlanda Insula, Vinland, situated to the west of Greenland. This suggested that Norse explorers had not only reached the New World, but had also mapped it, nearly half a century before Christopher Columbus embarked on his fateful voyage. The story of the map begins not in a medieval monastery, but in the sophisticated world of post-war rare book dealing. In 1957, a London dealer presented the peculiar item to the British Museum for acquisition. Experts at the museum, however, were immediately suspicious of its provenance and authenticity. They noted several cartographic anomalies that seemed inconsistent with 15th century knowledge. The museum ultimately declined to purchase it, casting the first shadow of doubt upon the artifact. The map was then acquired by an American dealer, Lawrence C. Witten, for a modest sum. Witten, a Yale University alumnus, saw the potential significance of the piece and brought it to his alma mater for further study. For several years, the map remained hidden from public view, locked away within the university's libraries. A team of scholars was assembled to analyze its every detail, from the parchment to the ink. The project was funded by philanthropist Paul Mellon, who would eventually purchase the map for a significant sum and donate it to Yale. Finally, on Columbus Day of 1965, Yale University unveiled the Vinland Map to the world. The announcement was a global media event, capturing headlines and the public's imagination. Here was tangible, cartographic proof that Vikings had been to America long before Columbus. The publication of a scholarly book, the Vinland Map and the Tartar Relation, accompanied the reveal. This volume laid out the case for the map's authenticity, detailing its supposed history and significance. The map itself was bound with a 15th century manuscript known as the Speculum Historiae, or Mirror of History. This association was crucial, as it seemed to place the map firmly within a genuine medieval context. However, almost as quickly as the praise came, so too did the criticism. Cartographic historians pointed out that the depiction of Greenland as a perfect island was astonishingly accurate for the 1440s. Such geographical knowledge was not believed to have been widespread until centuries later. The Latin inscriptions on the map also raised red flags among philologists. Certain phrases and spellings seemed anachronistic, more modern than medieval. The debate raged in academic journals and conferences, a battle between belief and skepticism. The controversy demanded a more definitive answer, one that could only be provided by science. The first major scientific blow to the map's authenticity came in the early 1970s. A team led by microanalyst Walter McCrone was given permission to take microscopic samples of the map's ink. McCrone's analysis revealed the presence of a substance that should not have been there. He found significant quantities of anatase, a specific crystalline form of titanium dioxide. This particular form of anatase was a synthetic pigment, a product of modern industrial chemistry. Its commercial production process was not developed until the 1920s. The conclusion was damning. The ink used to draw the map could not have existed in the 15th century. McCrone's team argued that the forger had used a modern ink to create a convincing fake. This bombshell report seemed to settle the matter for many, branding the map a clever forgery. However, the map's defenders did not give up. They questioned McCrone's methods and proposed alternative theories for the presence of titanium dioxide. Could it be a natural contaminant from the environment or the parchment-making process? The debate was further fueled by a significant archaeological discovery made in 1960. At L'Anse aux Meadows in Newfoundland, Canada, archaeologists unearthed the remains of a Norse settlement. This was the first and only authenticated Viking site in North America. The discovery proved that the Norse sagas, which told of voyages to Vinland, were based in fact. Leif Erikson and his fellow explorers had indeed walked on American soil. This real-world evidence made the existence of a corresponding map seem more plausible to some. If they were there, supporters argued, why wouldn't they have created a record of their discovery? The parchment of the map itself added another layer to the puzzle. Radiocarbon dating, conducted in the 1990s, confirmed that the animal skin used for the parchment dated to approximately 1434 AD. This was consistent with the map's purported age, a point eagerly seized upon by its proponents. The forger, it seemed, had been clever enough to use genuine medieval materials. The mystery deepened, a 15th century parchment with 20th century ink bindle. As technology advanced, so did the methods of analysis available to researchers. In the 21st century, Yale University decided to conduct a new, comprehensive study to settle the question once and for all. This new project utilized state-of-the-art techniques like Raman spectroscopy and particle-induced X-ray emission, PIX-wow. These methods allowed for an even more detailed and non-destructive analysis of the ink's chemical composition. The results, announced in 2021, were definitive and conclusive. The study confirmed the presence of the titanium-based ink across all the lines of the map. Furthermore, the researchers found that this ink was consistent with pigments produced in Norway in the 1920s. Investigation also uncovered new evidence of the forger's methods. An inscription on the back of the parchment, intended to link it to the Speculum Historia, was found to be fraudulent. The forger had attempted to write over an authentic medieval inscription with modern ink to create a false history for the document. The scientific evidence was now overwhelming and undeniable. The Vinland Map was, without a doubt, a 20th century forgery. But the story does not end there. While we know how the forgery was exposed, we do not know who the forger was. The identity of the creator remains one of the great unsolved mysteries of the art and manuscript world. Was it an academic prank that spiraled out of control? Or was it a deliberate act of deception for financial gain? Some have speculated it was an act of cultural propaganda, meant to elevate the Norse claim to discovery over the Italian Columbus. The forger was clearly a person of immense skill and knowledge. They knew how to source genuine 15th century parchment, likely from the end papers of the Speculum Historiale itself. They possessed a deep understanding of medieval script and cartographic conventions, enough to make a plausible imitation. And they had access to the chemical knowledge to create an ink that would look old, even if it couldn't withstand microscopic scrutiny. The Vinland Map is now a different kind of historical artifact. It is not a window into the 15th century, but a mirror reflecting our 20th century desires and anxieties. It tells a story about the nature of evidence, the fallibility of experts, and the power of a compelling narrative. It demonstrates the crucial role that science plays in authenticating the past. The true proof of the Viking presence in America lies not on any piece of parchment, but in the soil of Newfoundland. The archaeological remains of longhouses, the small artifacts left behind, tell an undeniable story. The Vinland Map was a detour, a fascinating and complex deception. It captivated the world for a time, a dream of a lost piece of history. Its unmasking was a triumph of scientific detective work. The saga of the map is a reminder that history is a constantly evolving field of study. New evidence and new technologies can reshape our understanding of even the most settled stories. The artifact remains at Yale, a lesson in skepticism and a monument to a brilliant forgery. The quest for understanding our past is a journey fraught with dead ends and deceptions. Before the map's public debut, years were spent in quiet, intense preparation by the Yale team. The binding of the map with the Speculum Historiae was a key piece of physical evidence for the proponents. They argued that the two items had been together for centuries, a silent testament to their shared origin. The wormholes on the map and the manuscript even seemed to align perfectly. This detail was presented as nearly irrefutable proof that they were a single, undisturbed object. However, later analysis suggested the forger may have cleverly drilled these holes to create a false association. The initial chemical tests in the 1970s were, for their time, revolutionary in museum studies. It marked a shift from relying solely on stylistic analysis to using hard, chemical data. Defenders of the map often pointed to the Norse sagas as corroborating evidence. These epic poems, like the saga of the Greenlanders, spoke of a fertile land of grapes and timber. The name Vinland itself is believed to mean wine land, a tantalizing clue. The controversy created two distinct camps, the historians and the scientists. Many historians were swayed by the contextual evidence and the plausibility of the narrative. Many scientists, however, trusted only the empirical data from their instruments. The map became a proxy war for different ways of knowing the past. For decades, Yale University found itself in a difficult position, defending a treasure that might be a fake. They had invested institutional prestige in the map's authenticity. The 2021 study was, in part, an effort to finally clear the air and embrace the scientific conclusion. One of the key figures in the map's early life was the Italian book dealer Enzo Ferraguli, who was later implicated in the theft of numerous rare books from libraries in Spain. This connection to a known literary thief cast further suspicion on the map's origins. The forger's choice of parchment was both brilliant and ultimately a clue. By using a genuine medieval canvas, they created a powerful illusion of authenticity. The ink, however, was the forger's Achilles heel, a modern material on an ancient body. The yellowed line that appeared under the black ink was a deliberate attempt to mimic the look of aged ink. This double inking was one of the first things Macron's team noticed. The story of the map is also a story about the media's love for a sensational discovery. The narrative of a pre-Columbian discovery by Vikings was simply too good to check thoroughly at first. It challenged established historical narratives in a thrilling way. The map's legacy is now one of education rather than historical fact. It serves as a powerful teaching tool about critical thinking and scientific methodology. The quiet, windswept shores of Lancel Meadows hold the real story. There, the low, grassy outlines of sod longhouses are visible on the landscape. Inside the excavated buildings, archaeologists found evidence of daily life. A spindle whorl, used for making yarn, suggested that women were part of the settlement. This was not just a temporary camp of male explorers, but a small, living community. The discovery of butternuts, a type of walnut not native to Newfoundland, proved the Vikings had explored further south. This archaeological truth is ultimately more profound than the cartographic lie. Vinland Map remains a ghost, a phantom of a history that never was. It is a testament to human ingenuity, both in its creation and in its eventual debunking. The debate it sparked pushed the boundaries of what was possible in the analysis of historical artifacts. It forced a collaboration between humanities scholars and physical scientists. The quiet whispers of the Norse sagas were finally proven true, not by a map, but by a shovel. The allure of a simple proof of discovery was powerful. But history is rarely so simple or straightforward. The map story is a cautionary tale for historians and the public alike. reminds us to be wary of narratives that seem too perfect. The real history of the Vikings in America is a story of courage, hardship, and eventual retreat. They did not establish a permanent presence, but their brief stay left an indelible mark. The Vinland Map, in its own strange way, is now part of that long and complicated story.